Welcome back to What the Flick. That's Alonso, that's Christy, and I am Matt. Latest news from the press trail for Ready Player One. Steven Spielberg has talked about how much he loved working where he was working on that film and plans to come back and shoot Indiana Jones 5 there in, I think, they were at Elstree? That's where he was talking about, I believe.
That sounds right.
And they'll start shooting the next Indiana Jones movie in 2019.
Yes. And it will come out in June or whatever, 2020. Right. I just don't care.
Yeah.
I don't want any more of these movies. The first 3 were great. The 4th one was terrible.
It's not going to be Shia LaBeouf again.
No, it's not, and here's why. Because he totally burned Spielberg. Remember that? He did this interview, and one of his many manic, self-destructive phases, he did this interview where he trashed Spielberg. And he trashed his experience there and was saying, like, when you meet him, he's not the Spielberg that you want him to be, and like went off on his time.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but like Spielberg launched him, right? Like if it weren't for him,
because he produced Transformers, he produced Disturbia, he produced Eagle Eye.
He totally discovered him, and then Shia LaBeouf just trashed him, and then it was announced like a year ago. The screenwriter David Koepp was saying a year ago, like that character will not be in the new Indiana Jones movie. So Shia LaBeouf then walked that back and said, you know, I misspoke. I speak a little harshly sometimes, and I shouldn't. So he took it back, but now he's like, I'd rather work with Lars von Trier and people like that. So
I don't know about Elstree, but definitely the UK is what he's saying for shooting Indy 5. But I mean,
how old is Harrison Ford going to be?
Just doing like the farewell tour of all of his franchises?
He's going to be like
okay, you get one more Han Solo, you get one more Deckard, and you get one more Indiana Jones, and then I'm done.
Well, I guess if you're Harrison Ford, like, all right, you're going to give me.
How much?
How much money?
Yeah.
Okay.
To show up in the hat and like make a little quip here and there.
But you know what? It could be all about Karen Allen. I would be fine with that.
I don't need any more of them.
The Marion Rosewood Adventures.
Well, and the other question is, what religion did they take? Like, what mythology, what religion did they take on this time? Right?
Well, never forget, the treasure was knowledge.
Well, and the 4th one borrowed from all the previous ones. Like the 4th one had all kinds of like set pieces and images that were borrowed.
The Mayan civilization. So what's?
I want Kate Capshaw back. Actually, can we do that? Am I the only one who misses her?
Well, Spielberg
does not miss her because he's there with her all the time.
I know.
There you go. So yeah, we have another one of those, which I'm like about.
Yeah. So the other Ready Player One based news is their screenwriter Zach Penn has talked about how he's working on a new Matrix movie.
Nope.
Another one.
No.
My God.
Reboot.
No.
Another one where it's like, no more.
No.
Please.
Even the Wachowskis couldn't figure out how to go back to that well. Like, let's just let it be.
Who is telling him that people want more matrices? Matrixes.
You were right the first time. Yeah, well, of course, the first one came out, what, 1998?
Right.
9? So it's like, it has been 20 years now, so that means there's an entire generation of like moviegoers who weren't born when that movie came out.
But going back to our original segment, they can watch it on streaming whenever they want from the comfort of their home without having to go to a video store.
Part of why I don't want this, I mean, amongst the reasons, is that even the problems with the second and third Matrix movie, I think they're still worth watching. They're still pretty. They're at least doing something interesting, is that those movies have this really great, you go back and look through the lens of knowing what we know now about the sisters, and you think, you know, those movies are about somebody escaping the reality they've been told that they've had the whole time and kind of redefining themselves. And that subtext serves to drive a really kind of audacious and not aspirational, they're really reaching for something there, right?
There's an overarching metaphor.
Right, and I don't know that Zach Penn's going to bring anything to the table like that.
Well, also I feel like even as terrible, the first one was 1999, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
And then Reloaded and Revolutions both came out back to back in 2003, but I feel like as terrible as those second and third films were, they kind of wrapped things up. No, but they wrapped things up in a way that like answered questions, and it was a satisfying trilogy and didn't make anybody long for more. Like, oh, there are
no loose ends.
No, nothing's hangling. Nothing is. I am not angling for another Matrix movie because there's nothing dangling. But I just don't understand. Like, is it a prequel? Is it more? Is Keanu going to come back and do his greatest hits like Harrison Ford's coming back and doing his?
I don't know.
Do Bill and Ted's first, please. Do another Bill and Ted's movie first. Keanu. That I would see.
Okay, yes,
That would be
I'm in.
if we're gonna like not be original at all.
Yeah,
Right.
bring back William Sadler as Death.
Do it. Yeah, do a third John Wick movie.
You keep hearing rumors about that.
Bill and Ted, really?
Yeah, like every
Really?
once in a while, you'll even hear. I mean, Alex Winter will talk about it. Ed Solomon will talk about it.
I mean, would they be
Everyone's-
dads at this point? What's the
Well,
deal?
so there's actually something. There's somebody, I think, last I had read, there's at least like a pass at a script or a pass at a story. And it's, these guys as aging rockers. And I think part of it is finding something that Keanu's willing to do and then finding time in his schedule.
Right.
But that would be hilarious to see. Like maybe they don't end up changing the world and they're just these kind of like old, washed up, never
Wild
was.
Stallions.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe they still do Wild Stallions songs in one of their garages. Maybe they now have teenage sons who are idiot best friends, and they time travel.
Although again, if they did indeed save the universe, like you have to come back from that and think like, well, no, they didn't. Now they do it again.
Why?
Right. Somebody changed the past and ruined it forever. Yeah, that's something I would much.
And they'd have to do it without George Carlin. which would
yeah,
also
sadly.
kind of suck.
Right.
But,
I would even
Like
be.
Whitney Cummings instead, or something like that.
Yeah,
Wanda Sykes.
I'd be
That'd be
willing to see that far earlier than I'd be willing to see another Matrix movie.
Oh yeah.
I just don't understand. I understand it, but I don't like it. It makes me sad. Like the dearth of originality. Like why go back to these wells? Why return to the nostalgia?
Because
why not come up with something new with all that money, all that creativity.
The potential reward of exploiting IP, some number cruncher somewhere figured out it was better than making like 10 movies for a tenth of the cost and hoping one of them hits.
Well, also. There's from a marketing standpoint, it's less risky because somebody already knows the title and they think, oh, well, that was a good one. They're remaking it. Oh, good, right? And it's not. Look,
it's the functional equivalent of a trailer that tells you the whole movie. You walk in already knowing everything you need to know, and so of course you're interested.
Right, and
but not
I've thought this and said this
No.
for years. Every time somebody's like, oh, why are we getting sequels? Why are we getting remakes? Why are we getting reboots? It's our own fault as a culture. Once we stop going to see this stuff, they're going to stop making it. But,
And again, this is not new. This is
Right.
No.
for the history of cinema.
It's just
is
today.
this,
It's just me complaining today.
Of course.
right.
Always
What,
time to
what are we
complain.
complaining about today?
Why not?
Yeah. So
We'll review those when they come
see
out.
a Zach Penn Matrix.
No,
I'm sorry.
but but when they happen, if and when they happen, we'll review them for you. We will
Yeah.
have thoughts on these things. We're already predisposed to not liking it.
Yeah.
We're so open-minded
Right.
going in. We try really hard, do we not?
We do.
Unless it's this.
Yes. Once it's inevitably going to happen, we're like, all right,
Okay.
surprise me.